name's Frank Thomas. I'm a coach, a speaker, and a forthcoming author of a book called Rise, Even Death Can't Stop Me. I'd just like to say that you guys, this moment, you were supposed to be here. Like, in this moment, right here, right now, each and every one of you were called to this moment, and that you're going to walk away with something that are seeds for your future. So I highly encourage you to engage fully. I mean, be here 100%, be present. Don't forget about where you're going, forget about where you've been, and engage in this moment right now, okay? Because I'll tell you, you're going to walk away with something that can be the catalyst for everything you ever dreamed of. Whatever you desire to do, you should have a passion for it. You know, and I'm going to tell you, passion is so understated. It's so understated. I know we hear it. We hear it, you know, be passionate about what you do. But the truth is that in society, most people, they follow the money. You know what I mean? They follow the money because they're like, well, you know, my passions, I don't know how to monetize that, or that doesn't make enough money, so I'm gonna go be this instead. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. This is really quick. Give me. There was a study maybe 40 years ago, and it was 1,500 graduating seniors. And they asked the seniors to self-select themselves into two different groups. Group A was a group of students who decided that they were going to follow the money, and then after they made their money, they were going to live for their passions. In that group, there were 1,255 people who self-selected in that group. In Group B, it was a group of people who decided that they were going to follow their passions and just have faith, believe that the money would come. And in that group, there were 245 people, okay? At the end of 20 years, they finished this study, and in that group, there were 101 millionaires. How many millionaires do you think there were in Group A, the group of people who decided they were going to go after the money, and once they made the money, they were going to follow their passions? There was one. There was one in that group. And out of the 245, there was 100 millionaires. And what that says is that you have a 512% greater chance of being a millionaire if you follow your passions than if you follow the money. And, you know, I'm a firm believer that whatever you compromise to gain, you will ultimately lose. Look, I'm here to tell you, do not chase the money. Do not chase the money. The money will come as a product of following your passions and being excellent at it. I think where we miss it as people, as human beings, is the best way to get out of a conflict is to never get into one. And how do you not get into them? Well, it's almost impossible. There's going to be conflict, so you have to be prepared for that. How do you prepare yourself? I think the greatest way to prepare yourself is to be authentic. Be real. You know what? We've all worked in corporations. You know, I spent the vast majority of my professional career working in a corporation before I started my own business. And let me tell you, corporations, there's a lack of authenticity in corporations. People don't feel like they can be themselves. The greatest gift that you could ever give yourself is to be who you are, okay, within a corporation. Never compromise who you are. I'm not saying don't conform, because we all have to conform to our environments, but not so much so that you're, you know, when you leave your organization for the evening, you take off the garb that you wore all day and you're like, now I can be me. You're miserable. That's miserable as far as I'm concerned. You have to be you. People who aren't themselves when they come to a corporation, they're actually robbing the corporation. You're actually robbing the corporation because you have something of value to offer the corporation they're not receiving because you're not showing up every day being who you're supposed to be. Show up and be who you're supposed to be. you will be much happier, and your organization will be much more productive. And productive organizations are profitable organizations, and profitable organizations take care of their people.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are repercussions for what you share. One thing I want you guys to understand is when you graduate, you get that diploma, and you're going out looking for a job.
No one could take that from you.
They can't, but even more than that is, you go out and you're interviewing for this job, and you're like, man, I hope I get this job. Do you understand that you are interviewing that company too? Mm-hmm. Look, don't just, think that they're going to hand you something and you should be grateful for it. You have an opportunity to interview that company too. You get an opportunity to see, does this company fit the values that I have? Is their culture one that appreciates who I am and what I stand for? And if it's not, that's not really a company that you want to work for. And it's like I said, because whatever you compromise to gain, you'll ultimately lose. Mm. You'll ultimately lose. If you compromise your values to go to work for someone because you want to make, money, and we all need it, we all need resources, but if you do that, ultimately you can't hope for the best. I'm not saying that the best can't happen and that cultures can't change before your eyes. They can. However, you've almost set yourself up for that ultimate conflict, that ultimate day where the time is going to come where you realize, I don't fit here. Mm-hmm. This is not a company that values what I value. And so you have to make decisions. You have to understand that interviewing is a two-way street. It's not you just, simply being handed something from a company. That company is, look, if there was no value, in you, that company wouldn't be interviewing you. There would be no interviews taking place. You have to look at it from that standpoint. You have to understand, yes, I'm looking for a job, but we're looking to exchange value for value. And it's not, there's no equation if it's one-sided. They're going to give you value, and you're going to give them equal value. You're going to give them value, and they're going to give you equal value. And so if you look at it from that perspective, you'll begin to look at companies a lot different. You'll begin to start asking all the right questions that matter to you most, so that you don't have the situations where I've been there. Look, I graduated from college. I went to work for a large organization, and it ultimately ended up not being really suited for me. And and I had to learn things the hard way. But that's why we're here, because we want to pass on to you some of those nuggets of things of gold that we learned along the way that you don't necessarily have to. You can begin to assess it for yourself. You're conscious of it, so you're thinking about it when you're going through that process, as opposed to thinking about it 5 years down the road, and you're like, I wish I'd have known this 5 years ago.